has an agenda that they're going to serve. I don't know who's in charge of it or what it is, if it's like a headless monster.
You know, I was pretty happy with that one gerbils the other night.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, yeah.
That was a good pizza.
Yeah.
That one.
What's up, everyone? You are tuned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show, episode number 778. We're coming at you on musicfromthe412.com, buildthescene.com, rooterooradio.com, megarockradio.net, 107.1 KFGD St. Louis. We are also newly on, this is the third time for this one, metalshop101radio.online. And as always, we are on xrpradio.co.uk out of Scotland. We started the show off with a track from Prime 8, Feast at Famine, and Feast on the Fallen, and their song Westmoreland. We're going to be kind of heavy tonight, except for one track, and it's hidden towards the end. With me tonight on this episode, as soon as I remember which button I need to press, it's Andrew Novak from a brand new band, Society as Punishment. What's up, Andrew?
Hello, how's it going?
Not too bad. I do want to mention that John Ballistic from John Ballistic's Underground Jukebox is hanging out in the chat room so far. If anybody else is watching us live, you can comment on the videos and we will be able to see it and possibly interact with it, maybe put it up on the screen like I just did for John. John's show airs Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Music from 412, and then there are replays throughout the weekend. He is originally from Millville, but has transplanted to Denver, so you should check him out. Hey, so lots of stuff to talk about with Andrew. Society as Punishment, I mentioned, is a brand new band, like so brand new that tonight I'm going to ask him about their very first show, and I'm going to let him tell you about that right now.
Very first show, yeah. We got started on the HORRID Fest happening at the Cabin this Saturday in New Stanton. It's a little metal festival. Well, not little, I should say. It's pretty decently sized metal festival. There's like 9 or 10 bands playing or something. And I got asked if we wanted to play something, and I agreed, and we happened to have some songs ready, and my singer said, yeah, he'll do it, and here we are. We have this show and another show lined up with new music coming out this week, and really a whole bunch of stuff happening.
So on the video side, I just pulled the flyer up so you can see it. Let's see, Rituals of Insanity, Hostile Front, The Final Seconds of Suffering, Horrid Ordeal, Pulverizer, Star Viper, Society's Punishment, Steve Wooler, Katari, whose drummer I have known forever, Sarah Halter. I read all of those ones, and this one, is it Apotrophe? Apotrophe?
Yeah.
So lots of bands. I believe it's $20 to get in. Does that sound right?
$20 cover, yeah.
And I am not familiar with the Cabin. I don't go real far into it's in Hunker. Okay. I used to drive. Yeah, I used to drive past Hunker all the time. So the last time you were on, I believe we were promoting a solo album for you. And if I'm
That
not
sounds about right. Yeah.
mistaken, the singer is the same person. Am I correct on that?
Same singer. Yeah.
So how did the band come about? Like what?
Well, ever since we thought of the idea of this band, it was songs that I've had written that I wanted to be heavier. And I also recently moved out at the time, so with a lot of things going on in life, they were heavier and more meaningful. I really wanted something to have meaning to them. Like, it's kind of, and it's funny because with how the band name came along, is actually my mother was the one who came up with it. And then we just started to put two and two together. And I got real into video games, being alone and everything. And I started to come up with song titles and everything. And just from the video games and then writing music to them. And it's just come about like that. And really, I mean, this was just inspired by lonerism, video games, and just outside ideas just all come together. And here it is.
So who else is in the band?
So far, it's me. I wrote all the instruments, the drums, the guitars, the bass. Once I get that down to a format, I'll send it to my singer, Sean Kelly, who's on the last EP. He'll record the vocals, he'll master it, he'll record it. Everything's done between us two.
And then who else is playing on your live?
We had some people live that were interested at first, but they had to fall out due to life circumstances. But with me and the singer, we have backing tracks and everything. So it's just us two as far as we can find people around this area for now. It's pretty tough, but one day we'll get there. So
You're doing the 2-piece thing for the show this weekend then?
as of right now, yes.
Okay, that explains the backing tracks. I get it now in your comment.
Yeah.
Terry Blair from Parabellum comment says played that show about 10 years ago with Master Your Demons at Gators and Jeanette. What a great time. And Steve Wooler, Master Shredder, is awesome.
I actually know Steve Wooler.
So how would you, like, I've listened to the tracks. I've had that advantage over the people that are going to hear them later tonight. How would you describe the band?
Each track is heavily inspired by who I was inspired by at that point to write them. It can be anything from CKY to Black Label Society to Judas Priest, or it's really hard to tell because each song has a lot of variety to it.
If this could get interesting. If you were able to sit down with your musical idol and ask one question, who would you be sitting with, and what would be the question that you would ask?
I would have to say, it's funny because I've been thinking about these questions like months on end ever since we first talked, but still every time just like rings a new answer. But just one guitarist from how many I'm inspired by. It's like an overloaded question at this point. To say the least, like, I don't know. There's one in particular. I mean, Darren Miller from CKY. I mean, I've met him. I played on stage with him, and I still hold it to this day of one of my main inspirations. What I would say to him, I'd have a lifelong chat with him if I could, honestly.
Is there a motorcycle going behind you too? I don't know. Did you guys hear that? For those of you not watching the video, Andrew looked over his shoulder. Um, is there a particular piece of equipment that you use that if you forgot it, you would go home and get it?
Am I allowed to grab it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Next to me. All right. I'll be right back.
So while he does that, I want to remind you to go to music412.com and buildthescene.com to find out more about local and unsigned bands from the Western Pennsylvania area. And some of the bands I'll be playing tonight are from outside the borders of Pennsylvania as well. Okay.
All right. So this Charvel, this is probably my main go-to guitar. It's something different. I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool. It's not like your normal Strat or Les Paul type style guitar. It's very sporadic, but it's cool and it plays good. Like this, I played with Darren Miller from CKY 96 Bitter Beings back whenever they come to the Craft House 2 years ago, and this holds a lot of nostalgic value to me. And this pedal, this octave pedal, which makes like a single note sound like you have a bass player behind it, is another thing that I can't let go. And I'm very heavily inspired by this pedal. Just play CKY riffs, write my own, and just really make anything new I can out of it. It just sounds different, and I like different sounds, and it's cool. I know it's like a poop colored brown, but this pedal is life changing.
So we're going to take our first break for the night. We're going to hear two Society as Punishment tracks. The first one is Crown of Lies, which is the title of the album. And then the second one we're going to hear is As Above, So Below. And we will be right back. It's that time of night where I am going to spin the wheel and give away tickets courtesy of Dressing Entertainment on behalf of Music from 412. But before I do that, I'm just going to rattle off some upcoming shows that we have tickets to give away for. July 31st, Suite with the Creedmoors from Rattlebone at Jurgles. August 17th, Striper at Jurgles. August 23rd, Bill Toms and Hard Rain with VZH&M Acoustic Union. August 27th, Sister Hazel with the Sages at Jurgles. September 24th, Lita Ford at Jurgles. And October 21st, Mushroomhead with Psycho Stick and Black Satellite at Preserving. If you're interested in winning tickets to any of those shows, head to musicfrom412.com/contest, just like it says off to my side. Excuse me. Tonight, though, we will be spinning the wheel to see who wins 2 tickets to see the legend Buddy Guy on his show tour, Damn Right Encore, with special guest Taj Farrant. This is at the Capitol Theater. It is Wednesday, July 16th. Doors are at 6:30. Show starts at 7:30. In case you're not familiar, Capitol Theater is in Wheeling, West Virginia. Those tickets range from $59.75 to $129.75. It is an all ages show. And we had 3 people sign up. They are spinning above my head: Nikki Praza, Andrew Carr, and Tina Leydig. I'm going to add their names a couple more times so that they each appear. Go with 4 times today. I'm going to hit shuffle twice. Once, twice. We're going to spin and find out who is headed to see Buddy Guy in Wheeling on July 16th. And that answer is Nikki Praza. So Nikki, keep an eye on your email. You'll be receiving one from me tonight with information, and then you'll get a follow-up email from Dressy Entertainment with information on how to get those tickets. With that said, we are headed back to my interview with look at me messing that up. I'm going to mess it up big time. Society as Punishment. And we'll be right back. So I almost called him by his EP, the name on the EP, which is why I completely blanked there. But it is Society's Punishment. We are headed into segment number 2 with Andrew. He'll be on the screen. There he is. Just a moment. Hey, so Horrid Ordeal, pretty big, well-known metal band in the Pittsburgh area. They've been around for a long, long time. Was like, are you familiar with them? Like, how did you get on this show? Like, did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them?
It goes way back in time when I was in Corpse Squad. Corpse Squad had the bass player Rick, who is still the bass player for Horror Ordeal. I made connections with them ever since. And I'm still friends with Rick and Chris and them. And I just haven't been very active in the music scene recently. But Mike Shoup, who's the drummer for Horror Ordeal, reached out to me because with Rick being their bassist and everything, and Bob the singer, and Mike's brother and everything too, he reached out to me asking if I wanted to play, which I've always wanted to, but never really had anything ready. But now we actually have a whole new EP ready, and we just want to go out and play. So that's really, and I agreed to it, and that's really how it all happened. So
You mentioned Corpse God, and why can't I think of what Chris's other band's name? That's terrible. They're like almost 40 years.
Leprosy.
That's it. 40 years in the scene. So I believe Corpse God was when I first met you, when that band started up.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Anyone not familiar with those two bands, if you're into heavy, like you just heard from Society as a Punishment, similar but different enough. So far, we've been playing all heavy stuff. If you're into that type of music, you should check them out. You should also go check out Society as Punishment. Normally, I would have a website address up down there, but I'm going to tell you the easiest way to find them is search it on Facebook, because you don't have a website yet, correct?
Everything's still so new. It's like I'm still setting everything up pretty much. Even the Facebook page too. Just even updating that, like.
So yeah, that's where I got a lot of the information that I was asking about so far tonight was on the Facebook page, and it's just search Society as Punishment. And if you have that problem with the I before E thing that I have every time I type the word Society, I believe I'm probably going to mess it up here. SOCIETY. Is that correct? You don't
That
sure
sounds
either.
right, yes.
I think that's it. If not, try it the other way.
Hold on, wait, let me look at it. Yeah. Yep. Fine.
the English language is great. I before E, except for after C. Oh yeah, see. Well, no, because that is a C. That rule is terrible. It never applies. I hate that rule.
Now you had me thinking for a second. I'm like,
I know.
before you. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sounds about right.
I need to look because now I'm questioning. Where do I have flyers? Yes, SOCIETY as Punishment.
All right.
Now that we had given them a spelling lesson for the night, and not very good one. So
a heavy music lesson and spelling lesson all in one. How about that?
So the other thing that I believe I've seen from you a lot, you like to put out videos of you playing covers of other songs. How do you decide on what song you're going to do and when you're ready to put it out there?
When I decide on a song, it really has to stick with me. Like, if I happen to see it on TikTok or something for 30 seconds, or if I've known the song for the past 10 to 12 years and just never posted it. Like, if it pops in my mind and sticks with me for a couple hours a day or something like that, then I'll go home and be motivated enough to play it. And then if I feel pretty solid at playing it, then I'll post it. But if not, then I'll go to a different song I had in mind. It's really all depending on the mood and the kind of inspiration that I'm surrounded by at that point.
I probably asked you this before, but can you pinpoint when? In fact, I know I asked it because I know the answer. I was going to ask you if you could pinpoint when you decided you want to be a musician, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a neighbor who was a little older than you that started playing guitar with you. Do I have the right story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so we won't ask that question. If anyone's interested in hearing that whole story, I will have a link in the show notes, and you can go watch the last interview where he talks about it.
It's funny that you bring it up because the guy that got me into that was the one that showed me this
pedal.
octave pedal, which I was talking about earlier too. So it all comes full circle.
Very cool. Let me think. If you have a night off, you're not going out to play, what bands would pull you out of the house to go watch them play in the local scene?
Wow, that's a good one. What band? It would definitely be Metallica, CKY, Lamb of God, Black Label Society, Alice in Chains. I can go on and on. There's so many of them.
Are there any locals that would pull you out to the show?
I would have to say Place Blame from Pittsburgh, the Aperture, who we're playing with this weekend. A couple other local bands. Terminal Sanity, but they're from Maryland, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They're definitely not from here, but local bands. I don't know. I've been so far out of the scene recently. Those are really only a couple of few that I really remember.
Okay. So we're going to take our second break. We're going to hear tracks from J.D. Wolf called Paradox and Black Lot Union, Up in the Smoke, and we will be right back. So we are back for segment number 3 here on episode number 778 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. You just heard J.D. Wolf, Paradox, and Black Lot Union, Up in Smoke. With me tonight, if you're just joining me, is Andrew Novak from Society as Punishment. So I'm not sure what I want to ask right now. sometimes happens. Oh, you do have another show coming up that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. Do you want to give us the details on that one?
Yes, this one will be the Friday after HORRID Fest. It'll be at the Green Beacon Gallery in Greensburg. So not too far from where Hunker or Newsstand is, but pretty close in the area. So
That's Friday the 27th. I think we're experiencing a little bit of lag.
yeah, Saturday the 21st for HORRID Fest, and then Friday the 27th for
Anyone
yeah.
who hasn't been to the Green Beacon yet, it is it's an art not museum, an art why can't I think of the word? It's going to be one of those segments here. You can go purchase art at the Green Beacon Gallery. That's it, art gallery. But they also have a little room that they have bands set up and play in. I saw Silicon Kong and Grimrock there when I was there. It's a pretty cool setup. It is little, so if you want to go to the show, make sure you get there early so that you can get up front. Or
Very little.
or find a couch. Those of you familiar with Jessica Taylor, who used to be who's in DB DeJanko, she has art hanging there, and one of them is a self-portrait. So that's my challenge for you when you go to watch Society as Punishment. See if you can find her self-portrait on the wall. So fighting through the little bit of lag that we're having here. My next question for Andrew is, if you could build a dream band out of the bands that you're familiar with in the scene, who would you put in your band?
I don't know how you come up with these questions, honestly. Wow. Well, for bass, I'd start off with Cliff Burton from Metallica. Guitars, I don't know if I'd want to be in it or not. Wouldn't be able to handle myself up to that kind of songwriting, but for guitars, I'd probably wow. So many musicians are flooding my mind right now. Okay, so Cliff Burton for bass, probably John Bonham for drums. For guitars, I would have to say Darren Miller and James Hetfield from CKY and Metallica. That would probably be my band right there. I know I bring up CKY a lot, but they're one of my main inspirations. So mainly because of that octave pedal, but
So I think I'll ask you one more question, and then I'll let you head off into the evening. If you were to be able to play with as an opening band for any band in the world at any venue in the world, who would you want to open for, and where would you have that happen
I'd probably have it happen at PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh. That's a given. For the band that I would like to open up with, would probably have to be Metallica, honestly. Them and Megadeth were the two main bands that got me into guitar playing and metal of where I'm at today.
Okay, so I do have one more question for you, and it's going to help me decide on what the last song is to play tonight. Corpse God, Remnants of a Fallen God. Are you on that recording?
The original 2-song EP, yes. The re-recording for the album, no.
Okay, so I have it from 2022. And then the album.
That was the one that I was on, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to throw that at the bottom of the show. So you'll hear another song from Andrew right there at the end. We're also going to hear that one song we're going to hear Signs of Tranquility, The Enforcer, which is kind of like a hard rock song. And then I mentioned that we were going to sneak a song in there that wasn't as heavy as everything else. And that's a track from Aubrey Birchwell and the Wolf Cats called Nobody's Business But Our Own. And it is very, very different. But I really liked it, so we're playing it this week. With that said, I want to thank Andrew for hanging out with us tonight and everyone that was in the chat room. And make sure you join us each and every Monday. And hang out on the chat room on Music from 412 on Thursdays. You're going to want to start that at 7 p.m. this week because there's a brand new show on there called Danny's Happy Hour. And then it's followed by John Ballistic's Underground Jukebox. And then a replay of this show will happen right after that. And then we also have Houdini's Rock and Roll Circus to end out the night. So you can hang out in the chat room and talk about the music that you get to hear. And with that said, we are going to head off into the evening. And make sure you tune in to the radio at 10 p.m. on BuildtheScene.com, musicfrom412.com, xrpradio.co.uk, and metalshop101radio.online. And you'll be able to hear this episode with all the music included. And we will see you next week.